here. We're live. Welcome. This is just fantastic. Welcome to the Lynn and Scott show. I think Scott's here. Hopefully
I'm here. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm frozen. I don't know why. Start the show. I'll be right back.
You're in Florida.
Welcome, everybody.
Ventriloquist coming.
This is exciting. This
the
is
land
exciting.
that time forgot.
This is exciting. I'm just grateful that everybody's here. We always got a great group of people here. We have Debbie Bettendorf, Kellen Ann, Barry Selby, Rex Sikes, and two hips Schilling over here. Schilling out with us.
Chilling out. Oh, I like that.
We have
it's
girls to boys
right now.
We never have that.
Third grade. Boys on one side,
rarity.
girls on the
That's
other.
rarity.
I know. Take a screenshot because it doesn't last long. It won't last long here in a minute. But welcome, everybody. I mean, this is just great. And we'll get this topic started here when Scott comes back because he was a little frozen. But I just want to take a minute. What's that?
Scott was a mistake.
Scott. I just want to acknowledge that everybody on here, I don't have, I gave away Barry's book, so I have to buy his book again. But, oh dear. No, that's good for your business. And
Exactly.
so Barry's book's right here. And then I got Debbie's book right here in front of me. And then I've got Kellen Ann's book over here. And then I've got Mr. Rex Sikes' book here. And then I got this cool book here with a workbook. So I got all these cool books here. So, and not last but not least, I just love saying this. That sucks. What now? Oh, wait. Do we have Scott back? No, we don't have him back yet. But
Hasn't got a book, hasn't got a book.
These are really great.
You can say that sucks.
He can come back when he has a book.
To his own show. Yeah. There we go.
That's good.
I think what I'm going to end up doing with these guys, they've been on the show here so much, and we've got a lot of people that watch us live, but then we have a lot of people that watch us on the replay. But I think even after the show's been on and the comments come afterwards, we should start making some of you guys give away one of your books sometime, and that would be really cool for that to happen.
Do that, totally.
So yeah, my books, the Bible, Ken, that's a great book.
Yeah,
absolutely. Love you for always coming in and popping in. So we appreciate that too. So question, how many of you here have everybody's books that are on this panel?
I'm missing one.
There you go. You miss it. Do you have berries already? Or are you getting berries?
No, that's the one that I like. When we were on the show last time, I was in Amazon, and then I got distracted, and it just reminded me, like,
oh my god!
I know me.
Was Rizzo here?
Oh my god, there was a squirrel in my pool today. Oh,
a squirrel!
So literally, when you yelled "squirrel," there really was one.
There was one.
Yes, it's the
you
book.
were just.
Okay, I'll do it now, Barry. I'm doing it now.
Oh, thank you.
So excuse me, you guys.
So just a second, I'm ordering on Amazon. I'll be right back.
But I want an autographed one. Can I order one direct and get an autographed one?
We can work that out. Yeah, message me.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
there
I'm
you go.
not distracted. Wait, I better message.
Barry, when Lynn and I saw you in LA, I was thinking, because I knew I was going to meet up with you, and I was like, oh, I needed to take his book so he can sign it. And then I'm like, my gosh, that's a heavy book. I'd rather bring those extra shoes. I'll just
see smart planning.
Those aren't nearly as heavy as the book.
No, yeah,
Exactly.
that was a heavy book. Instead, I got something lighter, my phone. And as many hugs as I could get from Barry. That was the best.
That picture on the inside cover.
Oh yeah, because nobody else is going to be reading the book.
No, it's mine. I'm not giving my book
Oh,
away.
but it's like your copy of the book. Oh, okay.
My copy of the book. I'm going to put that picture. So that's even better than an autograph. I have a photo.
There you go. Well, we're still having complications with.
Okay, I sent you a message, Barry.
I got it.
You go. There you go.
You know how serious I am?
Aw, Ken's sending a hug to all of us. Thank
Aw.
you, Ken. He's in
Very nice.
there. We appreciate that. We love that. So Scott brought this topic of learning from our mistakes. And it's so funny because I think it's something great to admit that we do make mistakes and learning from them. And sometimes I think the greatest success some people have are from speaking about their mistakes. And here's Scott, who can start the conversation about mistakes.
Good timing.
And so,
Why do we assume I know about mistakes?
you just happen to walk into the conversation, so you chose the topic. So I don't want to mislead where we were going with the topic. So
I'm in the dark. What do you mean I got no red light on me? I can't even see Rex.
You're in the dark.
There you are.
Topic. Honey, you're supposed to pay that bill once a month.
What bill?
See, he made a mistake. He hasn't learned from it yet.
If it doesn't come on pink paper, I don't pay it. It doesn't. It doesn't phase me.
Okay.
All right. Mistakes. And, I brought this up, actually, I kind of brought this up kind of tongue in cheek the other day is, learning from our mistakes. And the truth is that I don't believe there's any such thing as a mistake unless we leave it without a lesson. Then we're making a mistake because we're not benefiting from things that don't happen or things that go wrong. If I'm not making mistakes, it means I'm not trying. If I'm not trying, I'm not learning and I'm not moving. It's a simple thing. I don't get hung up on the little things. And I know I used to. I spent a lot of my life trying to prove to everybody around me I was perfect. I spent a lot of my life trying to prove that I knew exactly what I was talking about, that I was better than I was, and that I never made mistakes. And I've never been so miserable in my life. Mm-hmm. Never been so miserable. In my life now, how I live, I make mistakes all the time. I say the wrong things all the time. I was doing a class today, and half the class was the Vero Beach Police Department, which God bless them, they do a great job. I love them. The other half of the class was from a church. So now I'm talking to police officers and people from church, and I kept.
Oh. This is suspense.
Yeah. He kept swearing. We're going to fill in stuff for it, and we'll see how right we are. You kept doing what, Scott?
Well, I was
talking. A game show. Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Blame your governor.
I was talking about a time when I got into a car accident, and I said the only thing that went through my mind was, and what I started to say was, Jesus Christ, we're going to die. And then I realized where I was. And so right in the middle, I said, then I thought the only thing that went through my mind was, Jesus, save me. I didn't fool anybody. Everyone in the room knew exactly what happened. We got a good laugh out of it. And I actually bonded more with people by just being that, instead of having every word right or doing everything right. And that's kind of my point. Our mistakes aren't things we should run from, aren't things we should hide from, aren't things we should fear. Our mistakes are part of creating who we are, creating our narrative, and more importantly, learning to do things better. Next time, I'm not going to tell that story when there's church people in the room.
Maybe you will.
I bet you will.
Yeah. You give for love.
You'll have your punchline. You'll get it all down. It'll be perfect. You'll deliver it like Steve Rizzo would do it.
Oh, he did it right.
Oh, if only. I know with this group of people, and you guys are all, excellent at what you do. You're good people. It's just forget what you do. Forget the books that you've written, because I don't care, because I haven't written one yet. So shut up about it.
You don't know. We were just talking.
Yeah. Here we go. Yes, hold on by the books. All right, here.
Most people here
I've got paint. Okay.
There you go.
And you sit in the dark.
And I sit in the dark. You guys are all fantastic people, and I love the fact that you spend time with Lynn and I, and that you become more a part of the show than just us. It's all of us together.
Yeah.
And the biggest part I like about that is you guys always share yourselves, and you're willing to share humor and your imperfections and everything. Yes, even you, Rex, your imperfections and all of those things. And you share them with such good humor and good heart. And I just wish more people would do that. So many people are so obsessed with being right and so obsessed with not making mistakes that we forget that that's where the joy is.
Yeah.
That's where the humor is. That's where the laughter is. That's where the love is. It's in the imperfections and the mistakes.
You talking about a church without no farts? Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, going to church doesn't make you a good person, because I've seen many people step over a homeless person so they can get the front row pew. I've seen that. But being able to just be human, treat others without judgment, and not judge yourself, and just be who you are, unabashedly make mistakes, and just enjoy life. That's what it's all about, guys. At the end of the day, I hope we can all make money. I hope we can all have success. I hope one day I could write a frickin' book so I can stop hearing about it. I hope all these things. I hope all these things. But at the end of the day, my God, I'm the person sitting here who should have been dead. I should have been 6 feet under many, many times. And there's many better people than me that I've had to bury. If I'm not enjoying every moment, I'm pissing all over them. And I'm not willing to do that. Make mistakes, have fun, be free. Freedom isn't doing perfect things. Freedom is making mistakes and keep going anyway. That's freedom. I love you guys. So whatever you want to do with this topic, run with it. I'm going to turn on a light in a minute, but first I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you guys impress me, I might actually spend some money on my electric bill.
Wow.
Okay, from one Scott to the other, Mr. Scott Schilling.
Well, I mean, the reality is and we've said it many times on this show, you're off course far more than you're ever on course in life. And the only thing that you can do is learn to course correct. And can we cut that part and take it back so I can say that?
Right? You did it wrong. You did it wrong.
Cut out the mistake.
We just made a mistake.
But the reality is that's you got to be moving in order to get feedback. When you get feedback, you can now make the next decision. The next decision now gives you the ability to learn. The 5 questions that I ask in those situations: what's the lesson? What's the gift? What did I do to create it? How would I modify it next time to make it better? How's it going to serve me the rest of my life? So the point is that all of it is about learning from, and I don't know that anybody purposefully goes out to make mistakes. That's not the path most, I believe most people work to do the very best they possibly can, and along the way a mistake comes up and grabs them. They do something silly or say something silly or do anything like that, and so you're right. Sometimes you can laugh about it, as long as you're, Peggy and I were talking about something, and she said, well, these guys want this whatever. And she said, aren't you going to go act on it right now? And I said, no. What are they going to do? Eat me? They're going to be busy for a while. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? I mean, you can only do what you can do when you can do it. Do the very best you possibly can as you go along, and help as many people along the way, serve as many people, serve yourself along the way. Just do as much good as you can do with it. Again, I don't think anybody, what just came to me is I used to believe that people didn't purposefully do shitty things. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think there's a group of people that are doing some pretty shitty things, but the point is the vast majority of people, I think, have good hearts, good desires, good intentions, and they go to do the very best they possibly can. And the only way to, quite frankly, learn is to continue to strive to become better. And in order to do that, more than likely, you're going to make a mistake or do something a way that you will find a better way to do later on. So, none of us, there's one guy that was perfect, and it wasn't Rex. So
Rex is really getting it today.
Was it with a horse and a manure or something? I don't know.
Oh, that's so funny. He's like, I'm leaving.
I love you, Barry. I love you,
I'm
Barry.
out of here.
Oh man. Am I next?
Yes, Debbie Lou.
Hey everybody, it's so good to be here. I was giggling to myself because when I think about making mistakes, I've made my fair share. And I think about my kids and their mistakes. And I think sometimes the way we react to other people's mistakes is really important too. So for instance, when my kids would bring home papers that had a lot of mistakes on them, I tried not to overreact, but this one time, so Tori in math, she wasn't the greatest at math. And I got to say, I'm not the greatest at math. And so she brought home and it had red X's all over it. And I'm like, well, let's sit down and help you do this, because she had to turn it back in the next day to have the corrections. So I helped her. She took it to school. She came home and got her stuff out of her little book bag. And I saw it again. It says second try, fix mistakes and send back. I kid you not. Wow. I'm like, what the heck? Because they do a system of math now that's not the way I learned. So she will grade you on how you get to your answer as well. Uh-huh. So I'm like, oh, we're getting it this time. Next day it came home, third try. I said, I swear to God, if I get another ink reading paper. So listen, we all make mistakes. And I always try to help my kids understand that mistakes is not the end of the world. And like Albert Einstein said, if you've never made a mistake, then you're never trying anything new. And so, we knew math, but I really appreciate this topic, because I think we're living in a society of perfection that is not realistic. And so whether we're making mistakes in our life choices, or whether we're trying something new and it doesn't turn out the way we think it should, it's okay. We're learning, we're growing, and it's okay.
Debbie.
Yeah.
This remark here, Lynn has a deer in the headlight look. She wants to say something. He's not so far wrong. I produce a little show called Debbie Find It. And I'm not going to go in detail, but tomorrow you need to go watch the show I produced with Debbie and Find It. But when she talked, it did trigger a little mistake on her show that's only for certain people to find. And if you really want to find it, the oops, you'd have to go watch all her shows. Yeah. And all the tip I'll tell you is it's at the beginning. There's an oops.
At the beginning. It's actually on a blooper reel. It's on a blooper reel on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a biggie. It was a Mac Daddy oopsie moment for Debbie. You know what? It happens. And I can't take it so seriously. And the older I get, who's old? Who said who's old? It is more evident to me that the mistakes that we make only make us grow and get better. So
look at one awesome dude watching us,
hey!
Justin. He is an amazing, awesome guy. Love you, Justin.
Yes, thanks for watching, Justin.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for watching. We got to have him on here someday.
Yeah,
and I don't think he wrote a book, so maybe Scott would like him. Oh, he did write a book on CBD. Never mind.
That's it.
Scott's like, why'd I turn the light on?
I'm going incognito for the rest of the show.
No, because that means you're watching me with that picture. Mr. Rex.
Okie dokie. Wow. My turn. How cool.
Don't mess it up.
I'm not Scott Jones. I know you confuse me as him sometimes because of the stuff we do, but other than that, anyway.
Wow.
I kid you, my friend. So listen, first off, who says there's any such thing as a mistake? I mean, that's a premise that somehow we accept that there's a right and a wrong way to do things, and maybe there isn't. In school, we learn if you don't get these things right, it's wrong or it's a mistake. And so somehow you're held accountable for making that mistake. But who says that's the only answer? If you're doing something for the first time, how could you make a mistake?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you ever make a mistake? You just do the best you can with what you got. If it doesn't work, you got feedback. Hey, sometimes it has to say, hey, nitwit, you didn't do, you're getting this feedback, pay attention. And other times it's just like, oh, hey, pat yourself on the back and keep going. I mean, there's a phrase that I absolutely hate too that's been popularized. Either you win or you learn. Well, screw you. If you're learning, you're winning. What kind of dumb thing is that? You win or you learn. I mean, if you learned something, congratulate yourself. If you won, what did you win?
Mhm.
I mean, who cares if you won if you don't know what it is? Hey, you won the prize. What is it? I can't tell you. I don't know.
Is that all smoke and mirrors?
So the thing is we do what we do and we get the results that we get. And if it isn't the right result, as Scott said, if you're off course, then you adjust and you continue till you get back on course. It's simple. Why should you ever feel bad or feel good about making a mistake? I mean, and especially bad. I mean, because you're just doing things, you're trying things, you're attempting things. If you're a pioneer and you're out exploring and you fall off a cliff, we'll look at it and say, well, that was a big mistake, but it was just what happened. I mean, in other words, it just happens. If you step in a hole, you step in a hole. Life happens to us or it happens for us if we decide it does.
Right.
In other words, we assign the meaning to whatever happens in the universe. We're meaning makers, we're time binders, we're chronocentric. I mean, we think our time zone is the only right one. We're ethnocentric, we think only our culture, our race is important. We're egocentric, we think only I am so we have all these things going on. And then we talk about mistakes as if like I'm good enough to know when I've made a mistake or not. I mean, come on. It's kind of like saying God died and I've taken his or her place and I'm going to determine now what's right and what's not right. And I will hold accountable myself for have fun, live, laugh, love, celebrate, enjoy, do what you do. And if you don't get the result that you want, do something else. I don't mean change careers. I mean, do something else to kind of get the result that you want. If you choose dog shit and you go, I don't like dog shit, who cares if it's a mistake or not? Choose diamonds then instead. I mean, it's like we put so much emphasis. People worry about making a mistake as if, well, if I get it wrong, then what's going to happen? You're going to get it wrong. But how many times somebody's gotten something wrong and the great result occurred as a result of it? I met the wrong woman, but fell in love. I met the wrong guy, but have a family now. I turned on the wrong street and found $1 million. I mean, lots of things happen because we do things that we call mistakes or errors, or it is what it is. If you call it an error, it's an error. If you call it something stupid, then it's something stupid. If you call it something good, it's something good. You decide what it is. So just decide the best for yourself and be open and willing to have it be other than how you think it should be.
What's funny about that, Rex, is if everything worked out the way I thought it should, if all of my plans came out the way I thought they should, I would have never reached where I am right now. I mean, I would have sold myself so short. It was the missteps, the mistakes, the errors, the whatever they might be. Those are the things where I found the cool stuff. That's where I found the best stuff in my life, is when I thought, oh shit, this didn't work out the way I thought. But if it worked out the way I thought, my life would have been so boring. It would have been so plain. So
you are to point on that. And if I don't want to step on what you're saying, but I do want to add something to that when you're done. I'd have been an 18-year-old war bride married to the person who I first fell in love with, which would have been a huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I am who I am because of I didn't do that, because of all the different things that have happened in my life. You are who you are because of each and everything that happens, good or bad or right or wrong. And it could, if you think about it, it couldn't have been otherwise. You said, well, if I turned left instead of right, yes, if you did, but you didn't, so you couldn't have, you didn't have, alternate universes besides the point. You are here because you made the turn in a particular turn. So love it, accept it, live it.
I want to take a minute to say to Ken, you're wrong. You are somebody, and we appreciate that you're here to to spend some laughter with us. And someday I'm going to drive by your house. He's invited me to, and we're going to go on the boat and have a good time. So thanks for being here.
I like the misspelling.
What's that?
It's a podcast, he said. I'll be on your podcast. I like that. It's kind of like
hey, come on over to our pad.
Taking place at your pad. I like that.
Yeah.
Like your podcast.
It's a padcast. Everybody pads their resume with books.
I think that's what he meant by that. Now let's see, ladies first. And Barry, I'm not meaning to leave you last, but I'm sure you're a gentleman.
Teodora piping in. Hi, Teodora.
You're a gentleman there, so. Sweet
My
Kelly.
life has been a comedy of errors.
I mean,
and my daughter has the videos to prove it.
Oh, gosh. We can probably find you on TikTok.
And then the stories about Max and the pugs is just fantastic.
Yeah, we're all doing some great chatting here about mistakes, but something that I learned being a mother of a 19-year-old is that it's very important to know the difference between a mistake or them not choosing what you think they should choose.
Yes.
Because my daughter, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know what I mean? She had a full ride to basketball scholarship to Ohio State, and now she's at a community college in California. And I'm like losing my head here, and then I sat back, I did some meditation, and I'm like, so this is me learning from my mistake of thinking her mistake was a mistake, is pulling back and then just letting her do her thing and be her adult and just accept what's going on. Right.
Yeah. Because she's going to have to live with every decision, and whether she thinks it's a mistake or not is something that she'll have to let you know later. But
and we've been talking a little instead of me, because I'm like, what the hell are you doing, right?
Yeah.
I'd step back and I'm like, I talk to her now, and I don't even mention it, and so slowly she's been telling me bits and pieces, and I'm like, okay, this is making sense, right?
Yeah.
So my little input is make sure you know the difference between a mistake and what you perceive as the wrong decision.
Right. And nobody knows but your personal self. And that's the funny thing is people could think you're doing a mistake, but they don't know the whole story.
Right.
So they can think whatever. So the fact that she's opening up now to you to let you into what you didn't know, that's what matters most to you.
Because I acknowledged in my head that it wasn't a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's her choice.
Exactly.
But seriously, if you guys want her phone number and she can share years and years of videos of me making mistakes.
Sounds like I need to make some contacts with
her. For sure.
Ask her to show you the one with my head stuck in the nightmare, okay?
Theodore, Kellen, you always are so vulnerable with us and so open, and I appreciate your vulnerability and your shares. I love you so much.
You guys make it possible. You guys are awesome. So
it takes one to know one. So thank you. Theodora, question. Do you apologize more than once for a mistake you acknowledge? Does everybody want to take turns and answer this? And Kellen, you want to be the first one?
Let's go to Barry.
I apologize once.
Let's go to Barry first, and then we'll get back to you.
Go Barry. Go.
The banner covers him too.
Yeah.
Barry, get out of the basement. Get on stage. Come on.
Go ahead and bring the yellow pineapple up.
Yeah. Well, pineapple juice, please. Pass it around.
So a couple of thoughts just to start the ball rolling. One is that it's really challenging to not presume somebody else makes a mistake when you don't think what they're doing is the right thing. It's always somebody else's choice to do what they want to do. So that's the first thing. Very key in relationships and business relationships, especially too. Which speaks back to what Scott said earlier about shitty people doing making mistakes. There are people out there making shitty choices that aren't mistakes on their part. We may view it that way, but that's not what the second piece. And I want to jump on what Scott said earlier also about the on-course, off-course thing. Somebody documented once about how if you flew from LA to New York, you'll be off course over 95% of the time. You're only on course 5% of the time, but you still land there. You still get there. How amazing is that? That's because course correction, taking feedback and adjusting your course because of it, which is what it really is how we learn. And that thing, I agree with you, Rex, about, if you're learning, you are winning. If you're making mistakes, you are winning, because the thing is, we're getting better at what we're being. My book is an example of making lots of mistakes, because everything in the book is a lesson I learned by making mistakes in my relationships and in my own life. So I think all of us learn by the mistakes we make. That's the whole point, because we are increasing our experience in the world by learning by what we do. That's the joy of this stuff. But the thing is, I would say this one more thing I would say as well is everybody on the planet's made mistakes. Nobody's exempt.
Really?
Because
even narcissistic people?
Especially. No. Okay. The reason I'm saying that is because every one of us who learned to walk fell down at some point.
Right.
That's a quote mistake. So we learn by getting up. I talked about this last week. We picked ourselves up. We started walking. That is really overcoming mistakes by learning something different.
But can I ask you something, Barry?
Please.
Go ahead, Rex.
Why is falling down a mistake?
That's where I was going to.
Well, because the thing is, if the intention is to walk, if we don't walk, well, it's a mistake, isn't it? That's the way people think of it. I'm not saying I believe that, but that's what people think.
Well, what if they're trying to perfect falling down?
Yes, but most people don't
nailed it.
No, but I mean, what I'm saying is, you raise a really interesting point, and that is, your intention is to walk, and you don't walk. Someone would call that a mistake. But in the process of learning to walk, falling down is part of the process.
Exactly.
What is your point? Just to get from here to there.
Really
it doesn't. But if it's a point to get from here to there, it doesn't matter if you walk or fall or how you get there, as long as you get there.
Well, that's the truth.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was in a workshop once talking about the power of intention, where it was one of the evenings wrapping up the workshop. They had everybody in the front row go to the back of the room, and then each one of the people, there's like 8 or 9 people in the room, in that row, find a different way to get back to their seat again. So you couldn't copy the other person. So you had to come up with different and creative. The last person had the most fun because they couldn't do anything anybody else had done. The recognition is, like you're saying, Lynn, is that how you get there isn't really that relevant if you get there.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we have GPS now. Before we had GPS, we had lots of mistakes on our driving. So that's part of the joy of this, So this whole thing, this conversation about making mistakes, it's why life is so much fun. Because frankly, if we didn't make mistakes, it'd be boring.
That's right. What if Harold Lloyd figured out how to climb a ladder the first time?
Okay? Exactly.
And anybody who doesn't understand that reference, you're too young, and I don't like you. No.
But Buster Keaton, how he could unerringly be in the gap when a building fell down.
Yeah. I mean, we can get caught up in the semantics. Yes, you could look at it and say there's no such thing as a mistake because it's part of every, the attempt is part of every process, and you could say that. We could also say, well, what if we say our imperfections is what makes us perfect? Well, then we could argue there are no imperfections. We could go all day back and forth. I mean, the concept is that it's okay to just be us, and it's okay to make choices that take us in different directions, and all of that's okay. And guess what? If nobody ever slipped on a banana peel, we wouldn't know what humor was. So it's all relative. It all means something. It's all important.
So in other words, I'm 58 years old and I start signing my name and I say, and people can't read it. I go, oh, today's my first day writing. Oh, it looks really good. Like, what the hell? So in other words, it's just like anything, so there's that grace that people give when people are first starting to walk or do anything, right? Because they expect them to be awful. But there's people that, even little prodigy kids, that they start playing, they're perfect to begin with. They have no room of error. They're just natural. They're born natural at something.
But the question is, who sets the standard of what's perfect and what's a mistake?
Exactly.
I mean, where's the judgment? The judgment come on either side of it?
Ask Barry that question, because he's been sitting here for weeks and months trying to figure out why he's the only one who speaks proper English. All right, so you ask him.
This this will be the last time Barry will be here because we offended him one too many times. We loved you, Barry. It was nice showing your book. And sorry, we couldn't help it.
So here's the thing, though, just because what you said, Scott, and what both Scott said was so key. The issue isn't making mistakes. It's the crap called judgment you put on top of the mistakes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
When we realize mistakes are part of the learning, which like you were saying, Lynn, it's like when babies make mistakes, a lot of parents don't give them the grace to go, well, that was cool. You did something different. I mean, to quote someone from last week again, Ben Franklin, how many mistakes did he make to make the light bulb? Every one of those is a learning opportunity.
Well, first of all, it wasn't
Edison.
Ben Franklin. It was Edison. So that's okay. So,
See, that's the thing. I'm English, not American. I don't remember history.
Oh my God.
I think he's thinking of money.
It's all right, Barry. You're talking right. Just everything you're saying is wrong.
That's okay. When Abraham Lincoln came down
Just
from
like last week.
tablet,
He perfected
I
it
made a
this
mistake.
week.
I made a mistake. So what?
that's
Oh,
beautiful.
I love it.
But that's the point, though. Again, is about the fact that
He did that on purpose. He made a mistake on purpose.
Sure I did. Yeah,
Just to
I'll go
repeat
with that.
last week.
We're going with that.
All because of the show.
That's right. Thanks
So-
for following the tone of the show. It's awesome.
For those that missed it last week.
Can I
Go back and look at the
add
replay.
something
No.
that has no real relevance?
Why would you? Why
yeah,
would you add?
why would
not?
that change?
Why would you ask?
Because I'm cute. I don't know. So, in the movie business, I mean, there are people who will say, the law of attraction, there's action in the word. Well, I mean, we do that with English language, but law of attraction in Hebrew doesn't have action in it. I mean, it's that kind of. I'm gonna do that with the word mistake. It's mistake. In the movie business, you take a shot, a film, and you do one take. If it's done in one take, fantastic. If it's 2 takes, 3 takes, 15 takes, 150 takes. All a mistake is a take that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
So you do it again to get a different take. You get a different take. You get a different take until you get the one that you like. It's an opportunity when you make a mistake to get an improvement. So what we call mistakes are always these things. Well, it's feedback, it's a learning, it's this, it's the other. It's a gift, for crying out loud. It's the opportunity to repeat something or do something different or to look at it from another point of view or a different vantage point or to cut yourself some slack or to give yourself some grace or to, or to win or to learn. It's just truly an opportunity. The reason why we don't like mistakes is because we were reprimanded for mistakes or for bad things. They were considered bad. They're check marks and stuff for not knowing the right things. Nobody said that you have to know everything or be everything, but we think we do because we were so conditioned to hate being wrong about things. And who said we were wrong? We've all seen it, and I won't have the thing, but remember the thing like you see these memes where some student says an answer and it's obviously not the correct answer, but it's so spot on that, it's like they call I wish I could give you an example of it, but you'll come across one, I promise you, somewhere. Like if I had a nickel in this hand, or if I had $5 in this pocket and $50 in the other pocket, what would I have? They say, well, I'd have on the wrong pants. Because I don't have any money, or so. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in other words, the only thing about what's right is who you're making the authority.
Yeah.
And if you decide that you say, you know what, I don't make any mistakes ever. I'm not saying I'm always right. What I'm saying is that I do things that don't always work out the way I hope they will work out, but I continue to correct and I move forward. That, you know what I mean? I mean, if it's a mistake or if it's wrong, that's an assignment that you make, or that somebody else that you let make for you. You make somebody else the authority of your life of what's right or wrong. I do this in workshops all the time. Somebody it's like you give them a piece of paper, you say color something, and somebody will go, I'm crappy at this, and you're like, how would you know? You don't know what the assignment is yet. I just said color something. How do you know if you're good or bad? How do you know if you're making assumptions about your ability or the talent or the nature of the universe or the task at hand that only somebody that's all seeing and all knowing and all can make? Obviously, you're not, and I'm not. So cut yourself some slack.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that.
And it's okay. I mean, I mean, because it's part of our vernacular. We get it. I mean, we're not going to change the world by saying, cut out the word mistakes. But, so if your kid does something or your friend something, and it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, because it is, it's giving yourself permission to not do it the way you think you should have done it the first time, and to just keep doing things until you get it right. The notion of getting to Los Angeles, and the same thing is true about a rocket ship going to the moon. They've been off course more than they were on course, but they still landed on the moon with less computing power than we have in our phone.
Right.
Maybe it was a mistake and they hit the moon.
Wrong damn rock.
That's right. That's right. But it's all good. It's really all good. If you think it's all good, it will be all good. And whatever we do, if you just give yourself permission, the latitude to have a wider range of behaviors that are permissible and acceptable and good for you, then life becomes a little bit easier. And not because I hate people who get into the self-help field. They want to help people, and then they're worried about making the wrong mistake in improving themselves. Like, I'm going to do this wrong, or I'm not. Or what if I do the business and I make mistakes and fail? Let's stop that right there. The mistake would be not to do the business at all. That would be failure. I mean, to never try. So whatever.
I love that. Should we address Theodora's question now, Lynn?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to switch me down to here. I don't want our panel to be there. There we go. So,
and this takes it in a little bit of a different direction. It's like, do you apologize more than once for a mistake that you acknowledge?
Yeah. So we'll start with Debbie, and we'll go that way.
I was really thinking about that when she put that up there. I don't feel like I do. I'm trying to recall a time. I mean, I definitely apologize if I have done something, apologize for, I don't know what she means. Do you apologize? I apologize for a mistake? I mean, like, even if I I don't know. I just think that I'll apologize if I feel that it's necessary. And I feel like if I really heartfelt, genuinely mean it, once is enough. I mean, what do I have to continue to bring it up? And I say, we're sorry, we mean it. Let's move forward.
That's a good answer. Scott?
If I open a door too quickly and I come bounding into a room and it hits somebody and maybe they get hurt, there might be 2 or 3 apologies all wrapped up into one. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. It's one of those things. It's an apology in the moment if I acknowledge I did something wrong. The biggest thing is if I will own what I've done, that's pretty much the only thing I can do. I'll make amends. And it's a little bit more than apologizing. It's more like saying, listen, I am responsible for this that happened. I am sorry that you got hurt, but I am responsible, and I do understand that. You do with it as you will. I will try to do better. That's all I can do. If I'm continually apologizing for a mistake, I'm doing one of 2 things. I'm either trying to convince the other person to forgive me, which is not in my wheelhouse to do, or I'm trying to make it go away because I can't accept the fact that I've done it. So I've got to be very careful. If I get into one of those things where you apologize for a week straight for the one mistake you made a month ago, and I've had enough marriages that I understand that stuff happens. What I've had to learn to do is, listen, I will own the mistakes that I make. I will apologize for them. Certainly, if I mean to apologize, I will. But more importantly, I will own them and have to correct them for myself in my own way. What they choose to do with it, apologizing 10 times to convince them to forgive me, it's begging and groveling, and it doesn't have any place in a relationship or in a friendship. So no, you don't apologize more than once, except for, in an extreme moment, you might be, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. But that's, you don't spend days and weeks trying to apologize for mistakes as long as you own them. If you're not owning them, keep apologizing, because then you're full of shit anyway. So
I love that.
I love it. Kellyanne?
I was just thinking the same thing. If you have to say it over and over, either you don't believe it or they don't believe it. I've found that when I do make a mistake, I can't do a knee-jerk response because because if I do that knee-jerk response, I'm not genuinely feeling remorse or whatever. I need to really like digest it and think, okay, not only, okay, I did this wrong. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And how do I feel that it affected that person? And that way I can come back with something that's heartfelt and genuine. So that's what I have to say.
I like that.
Love you, Callahan. Barry?
I'm not sure I'm going to add anything to what's been said so far. My co-host and I did a podcast episode last week about having an authentic apology. I'd apologize in a clean way. And one of the things I'm really clear about is kind of what you said, Scott, but adding one piece to that, which is corrective action.
Yeah.
Because if you've done something, you made a mistake, and you realize, oh crap, I stepped on someone's toes, metaphorically or physically. Apologizing is one thing, just don't do it again. Because some people think by apologizing, it's almost a get out of jail free card.
Oh,
I apologize, now I do the problem again. It's like, no. So apologizing more than once, I agree. If you're apologizing multiple times, either you got the issue or they got the issue. And if that's what's going on, go deeper, because the thing is, it's worth clearing out the issue that's in the way, the belief stuff that's going the way, that I can't apologize enough, or I don't forgive myself for what I did, all that sort of crap. But truly, if you really are authentically, and as Callahan said, you're not just apologizing a knee jerk. You're just going, hang a second, let me just gather myself and come back. If it's a deep, wound you've inflicted on somebody emotionally, take the time to apologize in a clean way, not just be flippant about it, because it's got to be impactful enough to really clean the what's the word I'm looking for? Cleaning the issue up in the first place. So what was said before works perfectly.
Thank you, Barry. Rex?
So true.
I try not to make a rule about it. I think it's context driven. If I send you an email and you don't get it, I will send it again. And if you don't get it, I'll send it again. And if you don't get it, I'll send it again. And then at some point we need to go, is it me making the mistake that you're not getting it? Is it something in the transmission like the internet where you're not getting it? Or do you not know that you got it? And so depending on what's going on, I may go, well, if you haven't gotten my apology because you haven't received it, because you don't know that I'm actually sincere in my trying to ask for forgiveness or whatever, or apologies, then it's on me to try and let you know that I am contrite, or that I'm sorry. If there's something in between us that's preventing us from knowing it, then I want to look to correct that. Or if it's me and I'm not being clear, you're not getting the message because I'm confusing the issue, then I'll probably apologize more than once. But I don't have a rule about whether I should or shouldn't apologize more than once. It's kind of like on a need to know basis. And what is the situation? Is it where I'm at fault? Is it where they're at fault? And if they're at fault, what does that mean? Does that mean, fuck you, I ain't apologizing again? I did it once, like, hey, I came once, never again.
When did Rizzo slip
I meant
in
I
here?
arrived at your house.
Oh, I know.
You took it differently. But I mean, in other words, I can blame you for misunderstanding what I said.
Wow.
However, I intended it, right?
Yeah.
So the point is that I don't know. It'll be on a as needed basis. For some people, yeah, maybe I have to apologize 100 times and go, I really am truly sorry because they're valuable to me and I want to make sure that they get it. For another person, I go, hey, I'm sorry, and they go, got it, good, okay, let's go on.
Thank you, Rex. Love it. Two hips. Schilling.
I think it's situational awareness. I think, like Rex was saying, I said sometimes it depends. But yet, if the situation calls for doing it more than once, then you do it more than once. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think that there's a fabulous book by Dr. Gary Chapman, The 5 Apology Languages. And the other side of it is just like there are 5 love languages. Probably virtually everybody has heard of that book by Dr. Chapman. But the 5 apology languages are as strong or stronger. And, if you can match the way somebody wants to receive it or how they want the situation to be handled, more than likely you're only going to do it once because it lands. So, again, the more it becomes situational, I think.
I love it. Thank you. And my quick response is, sometimes, not to duplicate anybody here, but I would add to it that Ken goes, I'm sorry, Scott. Hey, Ken, thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ken.
But the other thing with an apology is that sometimes you apologize, and when you apologize, you gotta forgive yourself too, for it to stick. And if you apologize to them, forgive yourself, because sometimes you're apologizing again because you haven't even forgiven yourself for it as well.
Good point. That's a very good point.
So, Scott, do you want to do the wrap around?
Yeah, we should do. We'll go once around the room and kind of what we talked about today. And before we do that, I want to again acknowledge you guys, all of you. All of you bring something really special. You bring yourselves, and something happened a short while ago. Where somebody who's been important in my life, a friend of mine in my life, and a friend of my family, friend of my daughter, Cordy, who you guys have seen on the show, came out and said some really horrific, awful, hurtful things. And it tore my daughter down to her core, and it made her question her own choices, and it made her feel bad about herself. And she called me, and needless to say, the relationship is severed because it doesn't. It's not part of my pathway to be hateful towards people. But my daughter was so distraught, and I said, listen, there are still so many good people in your lives. Don't get wrapped up in the things that don't work. We're going to meet people. We're going to be fooled by people. We're going to have problems with people. Don't get wrapped up. Every week we come on here, and I can count on Scott Schilling to have this kind of cool as a cucumber way about him that makes me feel comfortable listening to everything he says. And Barry, you lead with your heart with everything that you say. Rex, you find a way to bring humor to a funeral, but to still keep the reverence of what the moment is. Debbie.
Notice he doesn't wear his glasses no more. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Reel them off.
Debbie, you have a grace about you. You have this energy about you that is just so unbelievably just attractive to be around, and you bring so much to the table. Callan, you in a short time you have become such a big part of all the things we do, and there is a simple kindness there that you bring that is missing in this world. You have this kindness that is missing in this world. We need more of it. We need you to lead with that. It's so incredible. You guys bring so much, and of course, Lynn has been my ride or die since I was 13 years old when we were going through our toughest times. We're going to have disappointments. We're going to make mistakes. Things are going to go wrong. Sometimes simply sitting down and just looking at all the good that there is. I don't know if it's Barry or Scott or maybe Rex who says it all the time, because you guys all say things all the time.
And Scott and Steve Rizzo.
The world is mostly good, and sometimes we forget that. We focus so much on the bad. In our lives are mostly good. Sometimes we focus on the bad. And I love you guys, and I want to thank you guys all for being here. And if anything you guys want to do to wrap this up, take it away. Let's start with Debbie.
I thank you, Scott, for saying those nice things about all of us. I think we can all mutually agree that you're a very special person, and you can take your past, and you are hilarious, but you are so inviting, and everything that you say and your delivery of it, you're helping so many people. My gosh. And adding that humor with it. I mean, saying Jesus Christ and then changing it to Jesus save me. I mean, they probably loved you, and you resonate with everyone.
And you got saved today because you're really.
And you got Jesus saved me today.
I think they loved me because they all prayed over me at the end. So I don't know if that was good or bad.
They're like, "Oh, we're glad we got him. We're going to pray on him." But
that's a good gift for God if you get Scott. Let me tell you.
Scott, what did the church people do? We know that the cops prayed on you. What did the church people do?
That's awesome.
Oh, the cops prayed they got you. No, just kidding.
Cops were praying. Church people were saying, shouldn't you be cuffing him?
And we paid for this? No, just
they're probably like having that conversation.
No, really, this is a baptism.
Yep.
Sorry.
There's no
I
mistakes
wasn't
here.
trying to bring all that around so that we could all just, I don't want anybody
No.
gushing or anything. I just,
Oh, hush.
sometimes we forget to
Yesterday was
acknowledge
your
how
birthday.
important we
Be
are
quiet.
to each other.
Yeah.
Yesterday
you
was your
say
birthday.
It's
Be
your
quiet.
birthday. No, 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 no. He's like, I'm not counting them. No, 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 no. Okay, but yeah, so mistakes, this is great. Learning from our mistakes, with everything that you guys have said, and Barry really touched on some things that, when he was saying the baby falling, and it's a mistake. And Rex is like, but it's not really a mistake. The baby falls because he's trying to walk. But the whole point is that, yes, it isn't a mistake, but because the way we've been conditioned to think of things not going exactly the way it's intended or it's planned, that it's a mistake. So I love that you guys bantered back and forth about that, because it was very clear to me that is exactly what's going on in our world. We consider things a mistake when it's not necessarily a mistake. And I loved when Rex, you also said about, mistake and Hollywood, it's a take. And then if you take it and take it again, it might be, it's not really a mistake. It's just, you're doing it again and learning until you get it right, by whose standards. But, and you're right, Scott Schilling, it is like the chillest, calmest, draw you in, let me hear you. I love it. So I love what everybody said. So what I'm taking from the table here is not necessarily what I think and what I've said, but once again, how you guys have changed my perception on what a mistake even is. That's it.
I want you to go back and watch what you just did, because you have the greatest magician flourish at the end. It's like,
yes.
it was marvelous. It's truly, truly marvelous. Like,
oh my gosh.
Dance move
and watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
And watch her tomorrow, because she does the same thing over and over. I love you, Debbie.
Oh, I love you too.
I can't wait.
Thank you. So if my career doesn't work out, I can always try magic.
Yeah, Rex can teach you.
I'll come get training.
The most painful moments in my life, I would say, are when I don't remember that the people I am dealing with or the circumstances in my life are gifts for me. When I think that they should be behaving differently, or if they'd done it differently, or the circumstances were different, and I resist what's ever going on, or I fight what's ever going on, I just tend to perpetuate the problem. But when I realize that the worst person in my life, the person I hate the most and has aggravated me, is truly there as a gift for me to help me be a better me, because instead of reacting to the situation or the person or the relationship, that it's about my transformation independent of what's going on. That it's an opportunity to rise above, to find a different, that may mean going in a different direction. It may mean loving and accepting them for who they are. It may be forgiving them or forgiving. I love when you said you got to forgive yourself. That was really a powerful thing, because that's so true when about that sometimes we're seeking forgiveness from other people, but we have to say, okay, it's time to forgive here, and to be okay with whatever I did or whatever happened or whatever. But everything is a gift. And if you understand that everything is a gift, I mean, you're alive, for crying out loud. You're above the planet. That what Scott opened up with, if anybody should be dead, I should have been dead, and I'm here. So every day is a blessing. Why muck it up by complaining about the people and the circumstances, the events and the situation in our life that don't go the way we think they should go? Let's just go, wow, there but the grace of God go I, and let's keep going.
Yay. I love that, Rex. I love you so much. Mr. Barry.
Boy. One thing quick to Jonesy, the mistake you may have made was keeping that person in your life more than they needed to be. So oftentimes in life, not cutting off connection with some people can be the mistake. So be aware that mistake isn't about being perfect. It's not about having everybody in your life and being good with everybody. That's not what this is about.
Right.
So learning to navigate life in a healthy way. The other part is, as I think what Rex alluded to, is really we are our own worst enemy when it comes to this. We're the ones that when we make mistakes, we tend to beat ourselves up. Very few people, I believe, when they make mistakes, go, great, I can learn from this. We are getting better at it, but most of us tend to go, crap, I screwed up. I made a mistake. Oh, damn, I should have not done it. We just run this tape, which basically beats ourselves up, which is why forgiveness, as mentioned, is vital in this place when we start judging the crap out of what we didn't do perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So making mistakes, when we can be graceful about it, and we can go, made a mistake. Okay, so what did I do differently than I wanted to do? What can I learn from it? How can I improve? Was it even better than I planned? Because that often happens. I've made mistakes more times than I can count, which I end up better than I thought it was going to end up. So are they mistakes? It's a judgment. So be more forgiving, be more flexible, and have fun with life. As Rex was saying, we're above ground. Let's enjoy life.
Yeah.
I love you, Barry. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Pleasure.
So,
oh shucks, now what?
No, everybody shared such great things. What it brought to mind is probably one of some people would say the most traumatic time ever on stage, being in the round, thousands of people. Totally brain farted my talk. I mean, I just totally had no clue where I was. And I dropped my head and I started laughing. And I came back up and I said, sorry, I just told myself a joke. And I went from there. And it was like one of the most fun times ever, that you think it's going to be so traumatic and it's going to be all this. And it was called being human. I was so caught up in the moment that I lost my spot. And so I was just goofing off. And all of a sudden, everybody was like, was that planned? No. No, it just was what it was. But it became something of, it was such a great lesson in, there is no perfect. It is what it is. Nobody knows what's supposed to happen except you. And so it doesn't matter how many other people are judging it. You're the only one who knew it anyway. So it turned out to be just a blast.
I love it.
Love it.
I love it. I
Love
love
it.
you, Hipster. Coming in.
Okay, I have two things. One is not related, and one is completely related. So first, the non-related. Barry, thank you for reminding me about GPS. I believe that it's added 10 years to my life. The fact that we have it now.
Oh my God, I was lost too. I love it.
I mean, I'm just perpetually lost.
Me too.
GPS. And as far as the mistakes, I think the easiest way to get through life is to accept the mistake and then react to it with grace and humor. That would be my best advice.
I love it. I love it, Kellen. I love you.
And
This
thanks
has
for
been a
letting
great
me go off on my little tangents.
Anytime you want. This is your show too. We love this. Scott, another great show. What do you think?
I'm thrilled, and to end a day like this with good people, good thoughts, an exchange of ideas, and certainly, a lot of people, instead of looking at everything that's wrong, looking for all the ways things are right, and I love that. So, again, my love out to all you people. You guys are great, and look forward to seeing you every Tuesday. This is fantastic.
All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. See you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.
Keeping me safe and sound.
Bye.
And when I fall, you tied a rope